heel in. So there's another screw in it. Oh, frame.
Right, it's fitting day for the big green frame.
Sorry. First injury already. Not funny. Like that feels soft.
Which end are you putting out? Which end?
Come like this. We're going to come in like this.
Okay, on the bottom left.
Okay. Yep. Bit more angle.
Okay.
Well, got it? Yeah, we need more angle. Hang on, more angle. More angle. Okay. More angle. More angle. Okay. Bit more.
You're in. You're in.
It's not that heavy. Why are you puffing on him?
I had to lift it off your toe, didn't I?
They an end of an era. 4 years of our victory goals.
Heel in. It's going to come out to me at the top. So
There's another screw in it. Oh, okay.
we've got to put some insulation in here before we fit because we can't get access to it once it's the frame's in place. It's so chunky. The frame comes to about here somewhere. I've just got to cut this little bit of flooring back. I don't think it's going to be seen in the final product. I think the door lining is going to cover this, but we'll cut it back neat just in case we do want to see it. You know, Andy's just been hoovering with his Makita, look.
Yeah.
He loves that machine.
Proper machine.
He reckons it's better than Festool.
Blue, not green.
What do you reckon?
Blue, not green. Makita, guys. Anyone who's listening.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit concerned about this bit of screed. It's in like the cavity between the inner skin and the outer skin. I don't want to sit the frame on this stainless bar while we're sort of manhandling it and it crack off at that position, because that'll be pretty disastrous right now. So just sat them into the weight of the frame while we're getting it in place will be on that bit of wood, and then we can just move them out of the way, drop it down on the bar. It's quite tight in the width. I've only allowed 9mm in the width of the brickwork, so fingers crossed my measurements were okay, and there should be loads of gap at the top. Ready? Hang on. Bounce through. Okay. Yeah, hang on. Right, I'm on the deck. First, straight down round.
Right, you want to bring it towards me? Yep. Keep your end high.
Down. You take the weight, bro.
Yep.
Go up a step now. Put me in your step.
We're going to go up a step, yeah?
So I'm going to screw that rail. You got it? Yeah, I'll hand it.
Yeah.
Look at the corner, Andy. Got to cover this side.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Should I have a cup of tea? Okay. Yeah, don't lift on the glazing bars. Just put it on bits on. Okay. Oh, well done. Just got to lift my side out. Take these blocks off.
I like that chicken tikka back then.
Hey, I bought you a cake. Oh, did you? Oh, thank you.
It's like top room.
To use the door.
Yeah, you use the door.
Ready?
Bring it back a bit, bro. That's it.
Right, there we go, it's in. It's just sat down. I didn't get a video of it dropping into place, but the frame just sat down lovely on that stainless steel bar. That gives me the perfect fitting for the door. So now I'm just going to drill some straight holes into these bricks near the face, but obviously back from a beading where you see, and then I can pull this frame left and right to get these door jambs nice and level. Obviously plumb it up in both directions, so plumb it this way and then manipulate them screws to plumb it so the door is the right size and fit nicely. Just fit everything here to a nice level line. Checking the slam side with a long level, I had a bit of a bow in the centre, so you've got a fixed top and bottom and then pack out in the middle to bring this frame, so it just tweaks this one here so it's nice and straight, because that is effectively the bit you're going to see shutting against the door, so we want that nice and straight and level. Let's bring the door in. It's putting a door on, I tend to just hold it until one hinge lines up enough and put your screw in so that the screw holds it in the hinge housing but it's free to move still. Then you can manipulate your door, get the other leaves in the other three positions, put your screws in your other three, then come along to that first hinge and then tighten everything up. Never use your finished screws straight away. It's beautiful. I'm sure if you're going to be able to hear it on the camera with all the wind, but you can just hear that seal on. The only seal in the door at the minute is the one under the floor. Obviously the door is going 5 mil further into the frame. It sits about there when it's in its set position. It obviously goes a bit further because there's no draft seal on the front of the door. That is absolutely perfect. See it just perfectly. Oh.
Yeah. Doors on. Is it working? Beautiful. Gives the bottom of the door much strength. I have one question.
Yeah.
We've only fixed this.
Give a bit of a shout out to George on this one. He's extended this spindle for me because it's a thick door and we've got a rim lock on the back of it. In order to get these screw-on handles to work, I've had to extend the square bit in the middle so it reaches the inside of the door and still reaches the handle on the other side. So good old boy, he's welded a bit in there for me. These need to be good and tight because all that operates the door lock is that tiny little grub screw on that flat, so they tend to work loose. You have to constantly tightening this type of handle up. just rotating the spindle from the other side so that it's definitely in the groove in the centre as I'm applying pressure, giving it a wiggle, so it's definitely seating in the bottom of the spindle, because it can quite easily seat on the edge of that groove, and then it'll work loose really quickly. Get that one in there. If it'll still fit with all the paint. Beautiful. Screws in this one need to be really nice and strong, because they're going to take all the latching force from the door. That's beautiful. Mistake. Look at this. It's an amateur job then, isn't it? See what, I'm going to leave them screws, one that way and one this way. See if the customer picks up on it. It'll be quite fun. Right, finally get these sills on. Such a big frame. Not reach. Beautiful. And your body to push them in after you wreck your thumbs. It's next day. Got the glass pushed in last night into the rebates, and the sealant is thick enough that it will hold that glass in place without putting the beads in. So that's gone off overnight. I'm just going to put the beads in this morning. Now I can see what I'm doing. This thing is a beast.
There's plenty of white. What are you doing hitting it with a hammer? Jesus Christ.
Right, so back the next day, I got all the glass pushed in last night, and I didn't bead it. So this morning I've just been round and pushed all the beads in on the door and on the frame sides. I'm just left with these little glazing bar caps to put on now. So I've just dry fitted them, put a bit of a masking tape on there to give me a location so they line up with the bars inside, and I'll glue them on just with a bit of a sealant. They're a good fit, but the sealant would hold it anyway because it's so sticky and thick. Bloody love this Milwaukee gun. It's just the dream. The last tube of sealant, look how much is left. That's legendary. This stuff's so hard to squeeze out. Definitely looks better than having individual beads around. It kind of ties through with the door really nicely. This glazing method isn't the easiest or quickest, but it's probably the most reliable for your units to last the longest. But to help you cleaning it off, if you just knife while the sealant's wet, if you just knife down the edge of the beads and around the outsides, so it creates a little V in the sealant where it's squeezed it out. It helps massively when you come to clean it out. When you run your knife round to scrape the sealant off, you've already got that notch in the sealant, so you're only having to cut through a tiny amount once it's dried, which makes a massive difference. You're not having to push really hard to cut through the sealant. So on the inside, I'm just going to trim these sills down to suit the lining. So I've had to work out where the lining is going to sit on the floor here. So I've tried to keep it just back from the edge of the flooring on that laser line, like so. So you'll just see sort of 3mm of oak flooring, and then the cocoa matting doormat can just sit in that oak perimeter all the way up to the door frame. So that's given me a position on the frame, just casting a laser up to this one, then that's going to get cut off at the exact position, which is the face of this. I made these last night and painted them so they're ready for today. We're all up against time with getting this fitted for Christmas. But I made sure the little bead detail here was far enough into the piece of wood that it didn't interfere with this sill. So I just about remembered to think of that, because I nearly did one here and one here, like two smaller details like on the other doors. So that was a spot of luck. Again, that was a bit of a mad rush. I've never seen foam go off as quick as that as I pushed that back. I had to clean it off this frame, but luckily builder's wipes saved the day. So it's a really tricky intersection between the white and the dark green. It's almost like black and white to get a nice seamless line around there. I've cleaned it off down there, but it needs a pointing bit of cork between the two, but I'll have to do that another day. I've not got time today, but it's cleaned off back enough to be flush, so a pointing seal will be fine. I just foamed down this side. I just pre-foamed that one because when I slid the lining in, there's no gap down the edge of it to be able to foam down the back here, so I had to get some in there, and obviously because it slides past that sill there, yeah, it pushes the foam into the face, so it's a bit of a clean-up operation, but that's sorted. Put 2 blocks in at the top, just PU glued to the steel before I put the lining up, and then I've just foamed from the lining up to the steel all the way up to them blocks. Then I'll put a bit of like 10mm insulation board, like tiling insulation board, against the steel between them blocks, and that gap there will become my vent hole. And I've recessed the back out of this architrave, which will become a trickle vent. So the trickle vent will be kind of hidden on the top of the architrave and will lift up and allow ventilation through that gap there above the top of the door frame. Right, I didn't get any footage after fitting, it's quite late at night, but here we are a few weeks after that day installing the door. It was right before Christmas. Been doing a few other projects since then, but here's a little look at the installed door with a bit of a decoration in front of it, an insight as to what it's going to look like once we're finished. It's looking really, really beautiful. Back here in what will be the next video to do the trims around the edge and get the ceiling in and finish it all off. Thank you for staying tuned until the end of the video. Really appreciate all the likes and subscribes, and especially the comments. It's amazing to read what some of you are feeding back from the videos. It's really inspiring to keep making them, so please keep commenting. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.